Well, hello everyone. My name is David. People that watch this know my name, know the things that I do. Most time I do this for therapeutic reasons. I'm not doing this for popularity or anything like that. Realistically, I'm an old man, and not many people pay attention to old men. And I got bad habits. Smoking is just one of them. Like all things that's happening in the world, you need to keep track of what's going through your mind. Because if you don't, you keep your focus where you're going and keep the observation about things happening around you, and then you lose sight of where you are and what's about to do. You know, they say you put some money back for a rainy day. I gotta ask, what good is money if the money has no value to it? I mean, it's good to be able to spend the money right now, but do you think it's going to last? And I may be jumping the gun a little bit, but I'd rather jump the gun than I would be lagging behind and get caught up with all that's going to be going down. Already, you're starting to see some transitions and everything that's starting to happen. You see the stock market is starting to fluctuate a lot back and forth. Every little word that is said by this economist or that economist, by this leader or that leader, makes a difference in it. And there's so many people coming up with their own form of monetary system till it shows their distrust in what's happening with our own monetary system. So if you put that money back for a rainy day, will the money still be there? And if it is, what type of value will it have? I talked about a little community, and I once lived there, and I wish I could go back to it, to where you work for free, but then you work and you got certain things. You got a place to stay. You got a way to cook meals. When you lived in this community, you go to a diner. You didn't have to cook it yourself. You go to a diner and they would feed you. Children could go there after school, before school, and different things like that, and eat for free. It's a pretty big diner, but it was no more than like a regular cafe. Now the children, they were taught with the three arts, with what's called SRA, science, reading, and arithmetic. Within those three, everything is encompassed into it, along with history, spelling, and different types of science. And there's about 5 or 6 different churches, religions that people attend. And so in school, that is left out. Now, we do pledge allegiance to the United States, but they also pledge allegiance to the community. We give to, like I said, give to Caesar's what is Caesar's. What the government wants, the government can have. We don't fight over that. We don't go into a township that's about 50 miles away, and we don't disturb them, nor do they disturb us. Sometimes they got wayfaring strangers and things like that coming through, but there wasn't nothing to steal because people just gave. So somebody come into your house for and take something, no problem. It was replaced. Therefore, the thing about crime is gone. Somebody goes into the local bank that we have there, and they'll find that the most they're going to come out of there is about $100. They say that's pretty good, but not really, not for the crime. It's not good. But that's about all the money that was in the bank. They all open up the bank vault. There is no lock boxes or anything like that separate. It's just a bank. But what the bank did was called work hours. Each person, they put in a certain amount of work hours, and whatever they did, it was calculated and kept by the bank. And the bank then said what you could buy and what you could not buy, according to the stores and things like that. Now they produced their own meat. They had a farm and ranchers that raised chickens, pigs, and cows, and sheep. And they were taken and given to a butcher, and the butcher would take care of them. And all that meat that was there was just for the people within that community. It wasn't for anybody else. And it was kept in a freezer. So as you earn certain amount of hours for work, you go to that store and buy a certain type of meat or whatever. There was inflation because we had our own. We did our own. We had our own veterinary. We had our own dentist. We had our own doctor. We had a little clinic, kind of a hospital thing for light emergencies. If there was something more than that, they went on down to the big city. And whatever happened there in that major hospital, then the whole community pitched in to pay it off. So the people never really had to worry about long-term hospital bills or anything like that. I mean, it was a nice little community. And I look at the world the way it is right now, and I wish I was back there. I don't know why I ever left. I know sometimes our eyes start seeing things, we want this and want that. And that's the worst thing that you could ever do, is to want something. You have to think about what do you need. You need a place where you can sleep. You need a way to eat. You need a way to keep exercise. You need to have fair, even trade. There's no highs or lows about this. It's just the way it is. There were several acres there that would grow corn, some would grow wheat, some would grow this and that. We had our own little mill and processing plant where we would make our own wheat, flour, and stuff like that. Sometimes we had to import stuff, but sometimes we exported stuff. And what we exported, the money that used for that is to buy the things that we couldn't grow there or naturally get. So the whole community would get in and say, this is what we need to do, and we would all approve of it. Now, I'll let you know that this was a mixed race from all over. There's some that was from Mexico and Africa, Jamaica. There was some that was from Iran and Afghanistan that was in there. And we all worked together. There was a lot of different races there, but we all worked together. We knew that as long as we got up and we did our fair share of work, we were going to be all right. That's all it was. No matter how much we could do or how little we could do to help, we were going to be all right. Because the town, this community, would take care of ourselves. The porch pirates, we didn't have to worry about that. Because the mail all came from one central location. It came in a truck and they dropped it off there and we'd sit there. Each resident had their own little place where they can go in and collect their mail or packages and things like that. That was for them. There was only one other person there, and that person would take when the mail came in and sort it out and put it to all the other places. This way, it did away with the mailman having to have rural route here, rural route there. All you had to have was your name, your community, and zip code, town, community, zip code, and all of it came to one central location. I mean, I would tell you more about it, but the postman loved coming there because he'd come in there, drop everything off, and turn around and take off to go back to do another route. And so that kind of made it easier. And if somebody didn't like it there, if something went on, the group, the whole community would get together and discuss what happened. If it was egregious enough, then that person would be put outside of our little community. They didn't have to move, but they had to start paying rent. They had to start buying their own electricity, paying for their water. They needed money to buy food and stuff like that. I mean, you found out real fast the privileges you had to be with the community and the disadvantage of not being with the community. And it was always up to the individual what they did. They could spend 1 year in isolation away from the community as the community could vote and bring them back in. It's very simple. Very simple. If you did some work for the community and you weren't part of it, you were paid a fair wage. Even though you didn't get to buy the same meat that we did, you did not get to buy the same furniture we did. You were left totally on your own. And there's a big box store, chain store, that was about 15, 20 miles away. And so you had a chance to buy what you want and do what you want. You still lived within that community, but you had your own place and you had to pay for it yourself. That was the downside. There was another downside. If you didn't want to come back into the community and you want to stay where you were at, and you're paying everything that you would need to pay, then you have to realize that all work in this community is based upon the season. If you couldn't do the work, you didn't get paid. Just that simple. You didn't get paid, you didn't get to eat. There was no, well, they could apply for the state and local food stamps and stuff like that. But in our community, we didn't accept that. You know, the stores, big box stores, some of the clothing stores that was there for a while would take some of these other things, but we rely on ourselves. Totally self-reliant. If a house got flooded out, got a storm or hurricane, tornado, whatever happened to them, we all pitched in and rebuilt. Just that simple. And there was no power outages and everything because these people in this community lived totally off grid. Totally off grid. They had their own little windmill. And it's not like the big windmills you see out there. They knew that in the old days, windmills that pumped water could also turn an electrical motor that could provide energy for everybody. So we had electricity, we had our own power grid, we had our own water grid, and our water was purified and clean. The wastewater treatment plant, we had those, we took care of that, we took care of the disposal of it, where it went and all like that. Sometimes we had to buy paint and stuff like that, lumber and stuff outside the paint. But we had the money put back to where we could do that. What this bank would not keep more than $100 there. This banker And we elected different bankers, accountants, but bankers that would control monetary funds placed in a larger bank. It was not a checking account, it was a savings account, only to be drawn on in case of emergency or once a year to pay for the goods that we need to bring in. Sometimes we had to get other things at different times, but those were the emergencies. That's the type of life we lived. That community, I wish I could go back there, but I swore a loyalty to them. I wouldn't tell anybody where it was at or what was going on. There is no real rich, there is no poor, there is no middle class or anything like that. They all are the same. Now, I used to make jokes about it as an old man, about some of the things that went on there, about the farmer's son, the farmer's wife, and things like that. But when the joking is all done and they all got a good laugh, we knew just what it was in our life that we had to do. Let me light this up again. Now, there's a lot of things that's going on in the world today. And they had a contingency not to be isolated from the world, but to be a little bit part of the world. If they went all the way through, I don't care. Looks didn't matter. What mattered was where we were at to have acceptance. Dumb doctor. I had to sleep last night. I don't know, I had my eyes closed. Dumb doctor. Now, how you feeling this morning? Huh? How you think I'm feeling, Doc? With my hands. Those are dumb jokes. But all kidding aside, how many doctors live in your little community where you're at? How many carpenters? How many masons, electricians? Are you living on the grid or off the grid? You get all this money put back in the bank, but what's going to happen when you cannot access it anymore? You get all these cards that say that you're worth this and worth that. But what are you going to do when you can't access those cards no more? The value of you going to go down to zero. Well, you say you can keep what you got and sell it off. What you going to sell it for? Money? Money that has no value anymore? Or are you going to wind up trading it for food and this and that? How long do you think that's going to last? And these peppers, I'm sorry, peppers, as much as you try to pick up everything, and what you don't realize, what starts war is somebody around you feeling threatened by you. And if they're feeling threatened, they're going to find a way to defeat you. There's always somebody bigger and better than you are that can take what you got. No matter how isolated you get, no matter how much you try to be in compliance with everything else, there's always somebody bigger, better than you are. Sometimes the biggest, baddest person is just that little bitty guy that you don't realize is there. Sometimes the biggest, baddest man isn't a man but a woman or a child. You cannot plan for every contingency there is. You have to be self-reliant. And this self-reliance goes a long way. I'm sorry, people, if you got money and you got a nice house where you're living, know that when the time comes, somebody that's bigger and badder than you will come in and put you out. Well, you say, won't they have any sympathy for me if I got children, pet, old, what? No, because it's about what they want, what they need. And they can't take into part worrying about you. And that's just the way it is, people. And it's coming to that. Watch all this fluctuation. Why is it that China just come over here and take all this? Because they got enough problems of their own. Same thing as Russia. They got enough problems of their own. Israel, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, they got enough problems of their own. They don't want to come over here and have to cope with all that we're doing. Those people up north in Canada, all those people, they don't want to have to come down here and deal with all this. Nor does those people from the south who really want to come up here. I had one of those farmers said one time, well, if you want to get rid of the best people around there, just buy them a gun. We looked at him and we thought he was crazy. But then he went on to explain, if you want to get rid of problems in a neighborhood, then buy all the bad guys guns. And if they all got guns, guess what they're going to do? They're going to kill each other. And once they do that, they can start playing every which way but where you're at. So buy them a gun, give them a gun. Let them kill themselves. That's all. That's what we've been doing since the beginning of time. Ever since we learned how to sling a rock or a stick or stick a stick at somebody else, or whatever, it's how to protect ourselves or be more bigger and better than others. The biggest, baddest person wasn't the leader. It was the community that knew how to work together to get everything done. Unfortunately, this world today is not compliant with any of that. That's how come, in a little while, I'm going to be off grid. And I'm making my move now. It may take me a year, 2 years, but I will be off grid. And once I'm off grid, yes, I got children out there. I got a grandchild there. And I want to help them so bad. But the best way I can help them is become self-reliant to where if they ever do show up, I can take, bring them into the fold of where I'm at. Otherwise, no, it's just a bad, bad situation. Now, you see that you've seen everything with COVID. I told you a long time ago it was going to get worse. Every time you breathe in a virus, and there's millions of them out there, as you breathe it in and exhale it, that COVID virus, with or without a mask, is learning to adapt and overcome. And that's the same thing either. There's no difference. And so the COVID thing has changed again. Give it 2 years, and will change at least 3 more times. Each time, more contagious. And within the last virus coming out, it become more deadly. It wants to live just like you. So if you pick that up, you're going to get away from the sickness of COVID? No. But I'll give you some food for thought here. Each year, there's about 3 tons, and I want you to think about that, 3 tons of micrometeors hitting the earth. Yet they're so small till you don't even notice it, but they're there. You take a magnet and you roll it through the dirt, and you get up all that pyrite out of it. Within that pyrite, if you take and look at it, there's going to be a few in there that's not the shape of the other pyrite. There's gonna be little beads of iron and stuff those are micrometeors. Do you know a virus that can live inside of a micrometeor that lands on the earth and it has all the right things that it needs for it to grow, what it would do to the earth and the population area? That's my theory about the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs got sick because of a virus. They started dying out. And because of their dying out and rotting carcasses, the methane and other things go up into the ozone, which weakened it to let asteroids coming by get pulled in by the gravity of the Earth. Boom. And this goes to the Yucatan Peninsula. And this goes from big volcanoes and big dust clouds that wiped out the dinosaurs, most of the Earth. So those viruses are coming in. And you think about the billions of years that we have lived on this earth has been around. And 3 times of it hit the earth. How many different types of viruses are there? How many different bacteria are there out there? How many different types of fungi that are out there? The scientists now finding out that can kill us. Well, if you don't know, then you can't prevent what's going to happen. After all, that's what happened with the plague. But that's what happened with a loss of different things that wiped out a lot of civilization. It's happened before, and it's going to happen again. There's a lot of little variables in there that even science cannot calculate, because for every one variable, they'll find out that there are thousands of other micro variables that's within that, and they can't figure it all out. Like I said, it ain't the questions you know to ask, it's a millennium of questions you don't know to ask. And that's the problem. Anyway, this is David. This is my journal for the time. Y'all have a good day, good night, and y'all be safe. Christmas is coming. Just remember, it's never good to lie to a child for any reason. Y'all take it easy, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.